Okay. You want me to sit there?
Well, after.
All right, and the Schwag is popping in now, and we are live in the crypt. Exciting one for me. Two of my favorite people in the world, actually my favorite people in the world. My parents, I guess.
Three.
Well, and the Schwag, of course. We gotta love the Schwag. You guys haven't had a chance to meet. They're coming to Kansas City Crypticon, Colorado next month. They were just at Kansas City Crypticon with Beatrice. Now they're gonna finally meet you. And we're going to be rocking Crypticon, Colorado with our buddies Doug Tate, Michael Bailey Smith, a ton of great guests.
Christine Elise.
So without further ado, I'm going to let you, because it's a lot of crowd. You see my dad here. We're going to bring my mom front and center.
Well, introduce your parents first to the folks watching.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, folks around the world, tonight, my parents, John and Marie Henderson, are guests on DK and the Schwag, shooting the shiz with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, here they are. Give me a second to block the camera so she can fix her hair, or she won't be happy.
I won't.
Uh-oh. All right, John, you're on mute. All right, folks, we'll be right back with the
I didn't have you unmuted, but I didn't want you to hear all the chairs going in here.
I got you. Oh, there they are.
Hi.
Enjoy.
Can you see us?
They're taking over.
I can see you.
Okay.
They're taking over.
We're very
all right.
We're very tired. This is our very first podcast.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll try not to embarrass my son.
Too much.
Too much.
A little bit.
Well, I see it's gone from me being embarrassed by them to them being embarrassed by me. The roles have reversed.
I think Brett understands that, Johnny.
Yes, I do. It's a part of growing. It's growing up, right? We usually will embarrass our.
No.
I mean, I know. I embarrassed my parents growing up.
The children never grow up. They are always children.
Well, so nice to meet you guys. Finally, I will give you some props. You raised a good kid. He's an outstanding man that cares about people, that works very hard for his friends. So I don't know if you guys instilled that in him when he was growing up, but you did a good job.
Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Johnny. He was like the happiest baby there ever was. And he was always kind and caring. He was a big guy, and he always stood up for the little guy. He never used his muscle or his strength to intimidate anybody. His friends were mostly, shy and small. So I was very proud, John, too, of him for that. And he was always caring, very, very caring. When I had my home for Alzheimer's, I took care of a group of Alzheimer's late stage, including my mom. And I worked with hospice, so they never had to leave my home. And I worked with a doctor that took them off all the antipsychotics. Johnny came to help me, and he was the best caregiver with my Alzheimer's, guys and girls, especially his grandmother. And now he's doing this with the special needs.
Yeah.
And I had a blast because I haven't met his special needs people yet, guys. And John and I got to meet them in Kansas City, and we had a blast. I mean, I never felt so much love. And all the people there in Kansas City were so kind and made me feel special, very special. So I appreciate how much you will care about my son.
That's awesome. Now, John, Senior, how are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. And yourself?
I'm hanging out there. I'm in California, so it's a rough go out here. I've been out here my whole life, except for 1 year when I lived in Mexico when I was 18 to 19 years old. So if I could move out anywhere, it would be out of California. But I digress. Yeah, you guys.
49 states to pick from.
Yeah. Talk about, I mean, you guys like going to hanging out in the conventions with your son and checking all this stuff out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been to a few, mostly in Florida. But now that I'm able to travel and he's retired, we're gonna hit the scene. We're going to go to as many conventions as we can because we wanted to travel when we retired. So we're going to have our cake and eat it too. Now on
That is,
to my hubby. Uh-oh.
no, you're good.
Okay, I
Okay.
lost you. I don't see you anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, I can see myself and I see you guys. So,
Oh, good. All right. That's all.
Okay. Well,
John, and when you were growing up, I mean, both of you guys, when you were growing up, did you did you get to watch some horror movies? Did you like maybe the
Yeah, we watched
Universal?
Johnny was into that from time to time. He saw his first horror movie on his way up to a hockey tournament up in Canada, and that kind of started him on the whole thing. But his guys really, made the difference. Uh, they got him really involved into the horror community and doing what he's doing today.
And what about you two? Do you like the scary movies at all, or do you like seeing all the folks dressed up at the cons and all the cosplay and all the outfits?
I love the costumes and stuff at the conventions. They are just, people are fantastic. It's a really great community.
everybody's been great. Everybody.
They're very good and very generous and very nice. I didn't meet anyone that wasn't that way, which makes it a pleasure to go to for anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go and you can meet people and you can talk to them and get their perspective of what they do. And they're from all walks of life, do all sorts of different things, and they're very interesting. As far as he started out, he picked it up on himself. He did this all on his own, and he had a vision to bring something new to the horror community and to be able to do the marketing and sales of not only himself but all the artists and craftsmen that are around him. That's really what he's trying to showcase.
Yeah, we're very lucky that we and I came on as a guest one time with your son and John, and then we kind of bonded, and we like working together. But John has brought a lot of these guys that put the focus on some of these artists and some of the young filmmakers out there that are making the independent movies, which is basically what our show's about. We like to showcase, the up and comers and the folks that are working hard, like John and myself. We work our butts off to make a living and do the stuff that we love. So we really enjoy doing the show together, and we definitely love going to the conventions because, as you said, it's a great community. They're really good people. Plus, now that you two guys are going to hit the road, it's nice, right? Because I love to go. I mean, I can't stay a week or a few days when we do a convention because I got to come home. But how cool is it that you guys maybe go come with us to a couple of these shows and get to check out the country as well?
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing Missouri. We're going to go down to the caverns, and then we're going to go over to Benson and take a look at the Branson. Take a look at the Wild West artifacts that they have there in the show.
Yeah, Dolly Parton's got her deal there, which is great. The Dolly Parton show. You get to go have a meal and see all the folks on the horses. I like Branson. Branson is fun.
Well, this is our first trip to Missouri, so it was a long ride from Florida, but and we weren't able to really do much sightseeing because it rained the whole time. So, but we came with our cat, and he just was wonderful the whole trip. He used his litter box in the back seat and jumped on top of it and talked to the trucks driving by. So we figured, okay, now we have a companion to go with us on the trips. Unfortunately, he passed away day before yesterday.
Yeah, my condolences on the cat, but I heard that
he went out with a bang. He went out with a bang. I've never seen him so happy. He's so friendly. I think he was the hit of the convention, to be honest.
Listen, I had reports. John was talking about it, but I had some other friends that were there that didn't even know whose cat it was, and they were like, "There was a cool cat, at the convention." So
Yeah.
he definitely made an impression on folks, and yeah, that's if it was his time, it was pretty cool that he got to go to the convention and see everybody and have everybody fawn over him. So
Yes, otherwise he would have been at home and passed without us. So
yes.
I'm going to miss him. I really cried a lot. We won't have our traveling companion, but, in spirit we will. In spirit we will.
We'll have each other. And, I was 74 before I retired in December, so
It's time.
it's time to take the wife around and see some of the sights around the country. And
Well, listen, if you guys want to make a trip out here to California, you let me know, and I will.
California, are you?
I'm up in Ventura, California, so I'm up by the beaches. I'm a little north, about an hour and 20 minutes north of Hollywood, California. The nice, cleaner. I live in an avocado orchard, so if you like avocados, I gotta.
I love avocados.
Well, you were talking about that one convention, Brett, that's right by my younger sister too.
Down in Temecula.
That could be something that we could possibly discuss. That would
February. Creep IE Con in February in the Inland Empire. That's a great one. Yeah, that's out in Ontario, California.
Mm-hmm. That would be what I might, with it being February and having two-wheel drive, I might have to ship a bunch of stuff to you and my sister and take a flight out there.
Yeah, Debbie lives in Temecula.
Oh, real close. Great. She's up in wine country, we like to say.
Yes.
Yes. Good wine.
We would go when John was working. Every vacation that he had, we'd go to California to see them, and then another time during the year, I would fly out to be with them and leave him home, so I could have a real good time.
Yeah. Well, where your daughter lives in Temecula is a great place to visit. Anyways, that's a lot of good wineries up there. Beautiful place.
Such a clean town. You don't see any graffiti it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's out of my price range, but we will occasionally. My wife likes a bottle of wine, so occasionally, if we are in the area, we will go by that way, and we'll stop at a winery and grab a bottle of wine.
If we're in Temecula, we'll call you and we'll go to. I'm trying to remember the name of the winery my daughter loves to go to.
She loves the almond champagne.
Almond champagne.
Yes.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about drinks, John, what's a good drink for you to sit down and relax with?
A beer.
Beer is my beer. It's my drink of choice, but I like a rum and coke. I like a margarita sometimes, but with
I wasn't talking to you, John.
I like until I get it, and then like last night I had a few. It's like, damn, I don't have the build up. I'm not in drinking shape like I used to be.
I was talking to Senior John Jr.
Man. I like white Russians, black Russians. I've been mixing a pretty good Hawaiian. Yeah.
We just started a liquor collection about 3 months ago. And he's making all these drinks because we really never drank before.
They bring the bar with them.
So now we've been experimenting with all these drinks, and we treat each other to a cocktail every night, which we didn't do before. And it's really nice because he's retired. So
the wife likes a Jersey sour.
Whiskey sour.
What is a Jersey sour?
It's a whiskey sour with a little bit of orange juice.
Canadian Club whiskey.
Yes, Canadian Club whiskey, not Scotch or bourbon, but.
Gosh, that sounds pretty yummy, actually. No, I
have a drink with them. You're gonna see them. They bring the bar with them in their own hotel room. So
that's all right.
You can
with
the bartender.
Wait a minute. This was our very first road trip ever. So this was the first time we've ever brought the bar with us.
Well, I think it's smart. I mean, it's not like they're falling down.
No.
That would probably be me if I was allowed to, but
Well, I'm finding at most of these bars, they have like 6 bottles of different liquor, and that's about it. If you ask them for a blue Hawaiian, they'll go around and paint some Hawaiian guy or something. I don't know what it is. No more.
Yeah, they have to they have to Google how to make it. That's the problem.
Yeah, they find out they don't have half the ingredients.
So my question to you guys is that since you are going to start going on the road, I remember, well, it's not even a question. It's just for my own experience. I was adopted at 2 weeks old. Both my parents, my dad passed away when he was 62, and then after he passed away a couple of years, I became a host of a drag racing show. And my father, when I was a kid, he used to take me to the drag races all the time. So when I started to have success as a host and hosting a drag racing show, I couldn't. It would have been great because I could have taken, my dad to any track in America to see any drag race. So what's nice that I see with you guys is now you get to go on the road, you get to see your son, you get to, help out and, and at the shows and, get to meet all the wonderful fans that John and the show have. And this is a great thing.
It was a thrill meeting his guys. We were with Manny and Josh. And it was non-ending, the hugs and the kisses and the just holding hands and communicating. We pretty much learned how to communicate with them almost within the first couple of hours. We even went and got tattoos. I don't know if you can see it, but
not real ones.
Not real.
Oh my gosh!
Fake ones. But the gentleman there, he fell in love with the 2 guys because I was pretty much bringing them around, and he asked Manny if he'd like a tattoo, and his face just lit up. So he gave Manny a tattoo on each arm, and then he insisted on giving me a tattoo. Josh definitely didn't want a tattoo, so he wouldn't accept any payment for it. And then he gave us a stack of tattoos to bring home. And then we came down the next day and he did the inside of Manny's arms. So he's walking around like this, showing off his tattoos. And it was just wonderful. It made me feel so very special that there were people like that would do what Jay did. That was his name, the tattoo artist. It was just wonderful. And then he went out to his car and he got his hat that matched Manny's tattoos and gave Manny a hat.
That's awesome. So now you're going to go back to Florida and start your own tattoo shop.
Oh, no way.
They're supposed to wash off,
I've
but
been
we're
washing
going to need
this.
sandpaper to get this one off.
I've scrubbed this
They
now
don't wash
for
off
6
very
days
easily.
and it won't come off. I can't get it off.
Hey, it's going to be interesting for you walking around to see what your neighbors and friends think. That's the fun part of it.
Well,
Can't wear a long sleeve shirt in Florida in the summer. That doesn't
You
work.
cannot. No, I like Florida a lot. There's for what John and I do, there's a lot of horror movie, science fiction conventions in Florida. It seems like there's 4 or 5 out there a year. But once both my adopted parents had passed away, I went and did the Ancestry DNA, and I found my real birth mom, and I have 2 sisters, and they're out there in Orlando. So,
okay.
Nice.
yes, so I will go out there, and I went and visited them 3 months after I found out about them, and so I like Florida. The thing about Florida is that humidity, and it usually at 5 o'clock it'll rain. It'll rain someplace, and if not quite a bit in Florida. So
Yeah,
depending on the
summertime,
area.
springtime, yeah, you get the really heavy showers from the humidity. But that don't usually lasts too long, maybe 45 minutes, an hour, and then it's gone.
But in the springtime and winter, we have our
Springtime,
windows
winter's
open.
great.
The breeze is there and the humidity is down. It's gorgeous.
So
It's hot here in Kansas too. I don't know what it's like out there, but Kansas, it's not humid, but it is 90 100 degrees here.
It gets warm in Kansas City, that is for sure. Well, I do like Kansas City. As a matter of fact, if you are ever in the city, there is a really good burger place called Town Topic Burgers, and they've had a grill, I think, there for 60 years. So you get that buildup of all the good stuff on that grill.
Oh, boy.
And amazing burgers, Town Topic, and I love coming. I got to go out there. I do a called the Gusteros bike show out there, and I met John, and he brought down the guys to the show, so we got to meet out there for the first time. And
Brett was such a class act with this too. This really I knew Brett was a good pal. He sat there and waited for us to save a spot under a tree, so we were in a nice cool area right in the front, and was there basically waiting for us to arrive and really despoiled the guys. We had such a great time. Gustero was such a fun event. They loved it. One of the guys loved the bikes and the trains, so we were looking at the train tracks and the trains too, along with the motorcycles.
And
So
John
if-
let me know that Debbie and Zoe and Savannah and Jasmine, our daughter and granddaughters out in California, are watching. So, hi guys, we love you.
And we were just talking about a possibility of an event, a DK The
Yeah.
Schwag with a lost Leatherface, trying to do something out there with mom and dad getting them. And it was the one I mentioned to Debbie about already. So maybe we could get a little family reunion going, bring the family, bring the DK Army, and rock that show with the big Schwag.
Yep.
I like that, the DK Army.
The DK Army. We have the other daughter and granddaughter here are in Florida, but they're on the West Coast by Naples.
By Naples. Naples is a beautiful town. So let's talk about you two real quick. How did you two guys meet, and how long have you been together?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
I had owned a beauty. I worked at a beauty shop, and his mother was one of my customers. And I had been fixed up on a blind date a couple of times before, but Mildred, his mother, wanted to fix me up with a blind date with her son. And I did give her my number. And a couple of months later, he called me. And we went out, and the next thing I know, he went away on a oceanographic.
I was in Antarctica for most of that time, up until that, for a year or so.
Wow.
We had only dated about a month before you left.
And then I left again, yeah.
And then when he got back, we pretty much got engaged. And we celebrated 52 years.
That was 52 years ago.
52 years ago.
Wow, congratulations.
And we're still best friends. And now we're looking forward to our...
Now we're travel partners.
Now we're travel partners.
Listen, it's always nice. I mean, I do so many events a year that my wife and we'll try to at least plan one event if I'm doing something cool where she'll come with me. And we've gone to Alaska, we've gone to where John and I are going for the Midwest Monster Fest, the Quad Cities, beautiful place, the Quad Cities out there in Davenport, and then on the other side, Rock Island and Moline. So, yeah, we always try to do something together, which is cool. But that's great. You guys are. I'm excited that you guys are going to start coming and doing some of the shows with us. That's exciting.
Yes, it is. And we've really never traveled. We always traveled with the kids on vacation when they were little. But after that, it was always visiting with family, which is what we wanted to do. We, wanted to spend time with our kids and our grandkids. Traveling wasn't important to us at that time.
Sure.
We just didn't have that kind of an interest. But now, you better wait. I want to go on some cruises too,
What? I don't know.
Retirement money ready, sir.
Yeah.
She's got some high demands and some high trips planned on your
I think there are some horror movie cruises, horror convention cruises that we might be able to.
That sounds like something that is a
would be
good
fun.
possibility.
Yeah.
Why don't we do a horror cruise?
We could kill two birds with one stone. You guys can get on the boat, and we can also have some fun showing off the mask and selling some pictures and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
A Halloween horror fest on a cruise line.
Yeah, now they have done before. It was called the Walker Stalker Cruise, where they would do all the folks from The Walking Dead, the TV show. They would put them on a cruise ship, and people would come on the cruise ship, and they do it just like a regular convention, just on a cruise ship. So we'll have to see. I do believe there's one or two people still do that during the year, but we can find that out. But John, I want to get both of you guys, when you had time, because you raised a big family, and I know you both were working. When you had time, what were some of the movies that you guys, whether growing up with or that you've liked over the years, and some of the actors that you like?
Well, when they were little, a lot of the shows we watched was like Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, we didn't need to watch three of them staying up all night long.
We watched a lot of fun family type movies and shows.
What's the first one you watched? Jason, wasn't it?
We watched Park 6 Jason. I talk about all the time. Me and my dad on my hockey trip. That's why Jason, CJ, and should we talk about who we got coming this Sunday, since it kind of ties in too?
100%. Yeah, let's go.
One I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was CJ Graham, who's Jason, and you got Tom Matthews, who played Tommy Jarvis from Return from I can't speak. Well, Tommy Jarvis, we got him coming up this week, this Sunday.
That's right.
Tommy Jarvis, we got him coming up. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about his career. We're going to be talking about cons, because Brett seems to see him every other weekend. I think you see Tom Matthews more than your wife. Easy,
but yes, that's true. That is true. But you know what? Tom is a good-looking guy. So, it's very funny. So, I was in Buffalo 2 weeks ago with Tom and CJ, and then me and Tom were in Albuquerque over the weekend, and then last night we went and had a cigar together. I do occasionally like a good cigar, and Tom brought a couple good Cubans, and we sat at the Cigar Warehouse, which is a very popular cigar lounge in Sherman Oaks, and had a cigar, and we're talking shop. And Tom Matthews is a really, really smart, I don't want to say entrepreneur, but he not only has he been in some iconic roles as an actor, and he's been in, probably a top 5 comedy horror movie of all time with Return of the Living Dead, but pivotal roles, Friday the 13th, Part 6. And, but you should hear some of this. I mean, he was in acting class, right, John? And he was in acting class with George Clooney, Kelly Preston, all these very big actors. So he's got some great stories, and we'll see what we can pull out of him on the air. We'll see what he'll tell us. Yeah. He might not tell you what he told me last night, but he might say a few things. So we'll pin him down. So hopefully you two will be watching Sunday night as well.
One of the things that people commented on was on my scooter. Since the first convention we went to, I sort of bumped into a couple of tables. So I was called Crash. I haven't done it since. And Michael Toth made me
the Goblin from Maximum Overdrive.
And everybody was looking at that because it's on the front of my scooter and commenting that was one of their favorite films. And they wanted to know who had drawn it. So it's special to me, only it's getting a little dog-eared because I use it all the time.
People were wanting to know who you ran over as well. I saw that.
A couple of vendors, their tire booths.
And,
couple hundred cassettes.
Hey, it brought attention to them. It brought customers over to,
help them pick up.
Help them pick
up.
Help
them make up the money that she cost. I'm just kidding. Most of the stuff,
I didn't break anything.
I caught it.
And it was all Johnny's fault anyway.
Yeah. I didn't set the table enough with an opening enough for a scooter. It only had about 2 feet on each
No,
side.
that was the convention. He had us on one side of the
Yeah. That
place,
was your
and he
first
was
one.
on the other side. And we had no idea what we were doing. So I was trying to go back and forth with my scooter to see what he needed or what I needed. And
We figured he needed to pick up cassettes.
yes.
But you all also asked about movies. I want to touch on that
Okay.
because movies were a big part of my childhood with them because the video stores were just opening. My dad was always on top of the technology. Even watching Part 6, he had one of those big old VHS cams. I'm watching in black and white with one eye and an earplug in my ear watching Part 6. I must have watched it 3 or 4 times in a row because it was about an 8-hour trip. And but those were the type of experiences where I got into horror. I'd look at those horror titles, and my parents would be like, "This is rated R. This one's not rated though, so you can get that. Okay, shouldn't be bad." Boobs be popping out. Jesus, I think this is not rated. And then like my mom would get excited when the Creature from the Black Lagoon was coming on. Like they had the big thing. We couldn't get the 3D glasses. Psycho, she couldn't wait to talk about it. You gotta see this movie. You guys are gonna love it. We had to watch it. So when all these movies, for me, videos were like a new step for them. It was exciting for them. Movies that they could only watch.
We showed them
And you
some of
couldn't
the
watch
old
those
movies.
films like you can nowadays. You can't just at the fingertip watch things. So it was an event when you
You
watch
couldn't
something.
stream anything.
We exposed them to Psycho and the Birds and some of those movies
Universal
are really
Monsters.
something.
It was the
Well,
days-
Alfred Hitchcock in itself is a whole thing. A lot of people, a lot of the younger folks today, they don't, Universal Monsters, they don't get it. They don't watch it. They go for the newer movies, and they definitely don't know Hitchcock and all that stuff. But that's, those movies are still, they hold their weight when you watch them, and brilliant. The Birds is I got to watch it once a year, and most of the Alfred Hitchcock stuff I'll watch, but that's great. I mean, I remember too, it was a big deal. Friday nights, we would go to, we did, I forget what the video, we'd go to Blockbuster, we'd go to one of the other places, and that was the whole thing. I would run around, and my dad would say, "All right, hurry up and go get your horror movies," and we'd come back, but that was the big deal. That was a nice family time. And then we go to In-N-Out Burger, which is a famous Southern California burger joint. So we get the movies and get the burgers, and then I'd go home, and my dad would go have a Coors Light with the neighbor, and I'd watch horror movies with my sister and get scared.
Johnny also loved Star Wars. He had the entire collection.
Big Star Wars guy.
He was big. When Spock, right? Spock.
Oh, when Spock died.
When Spock died, we at the
Oh,
movie
Star Trek.
theater.
Star Trek.
Oh, that was Star Trek. Okay, but when Spock died, we were in the movie theater. He was only like 3, maybe.
No, I was older. 5 or
Maybe
6.
5.
Can't do it. I'm trying
He
to.
was crying. I mean, he ran up the aisle crying. It was
We went to
cute.
Chuck E. Cheese after, so
Yes, we went to Chuck E.
I
Cheese
cheered
after.
up very quickly.
Very quickly.
Especially back in the day, Chuck E. Cheese had all.
Oh, come on.
Games.
Yeah.
I will tell you. Here's a quick story about Chuck E. Cheese. I had my dad was a very good stockbroker and did it for many years. And when my grandmother died, they left me $10,000, and we invested in Chuck E. Cheese.
Wow.
So, and now I'm 16 years old, and my dad says, "Hey, I think we need to sell that stock." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean sell it? It's my stock. I want to keep it." And he goes, it's worth about $18,000. So over the years, it got an extra $8,000. It went up, and he's like, I suggest we sell it now. And I said, "Is it my stock or yours?" And he goes, "Okay, yeah, no problem." 7 months later, they went Chapter 11.
Yeah.
And I learned a very valuable lesson. Listen to your parents. So, yeah, but I love Chuck E. Cheese.
Don't start giving them ideas here,
Good
Brett.
advice.
But
Good
Brett
advice.
said, but
But
Brett
yes.
said you should
I can
listen.
quote you
Good
on
job,
that,
Brett.
right?
You just became their best friend, Brett. Thank
Listen, Johnny. Hey, Johnny, pipe down. Listen. Yeah, no, it's listen, it's great. I know, John works his butt off, and he's obviously loves you two to death because he talks about you all the time. And I know he's super proud when you guys get to come along. And I know you guys got to be super proud to see how far he's come and what he has made, because, you know, our community, the horror movie, the convention, and what we do is a very small community. And in just a short time, your Johnny has made a very big impact in it. Now he's dragging me into this mess, but I appreciate it.
Johnny.
Yeah, we got now.
Welcome to the party.
Hey, you called him Johnny.
I did. I'm just doing that because you were doing it.
It makes it easier
he's
to
always,
distinguish
he
us
was
two
always
in the
Johnny.
same
He was never John. He was never called John.
Oh, they call him
Well,
John.
everybody calls me John except for my family.
Yeah.
I'm still Uncle Johnny to anybody in my family.
He's Johnny. His father is John. He's Johnny.
It gets a little confusing if we both have the exact same first name.
Yes. Well, I'm going to call you Sir, or, you know, Mr. John, Big John.
Well,
Big John. Okay.
My older sisters, Vicky and Debbie. And Vicky, John, Debbie doesn't ring when you're yelling through an intercom, when you have it through your house, right on it.
Hey, we need to go to a question there, but we have a thing. Debbie Morissette, I imagine that's your sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember Mom and Dad editing? I remember them taping over a sex scene in Terminator with a heavy hand, and we missed half the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was on her. But whenever I'd be with my dad, it was always fun because the R rating was okay if we did something. It was dude time. He broke the rules with me.
Yeah, it's you know, I had some very cool parents growing up as well. And my mom and dad, what they tried to do is they just tried to instill the best in me. And, you know, I mean, I would screw up quite a bit, and my mom and dad would have to bail me out of some situations. But as long as they, you instill the best you can and try to, you know, teach your kids the best thing possible. That's not even the right word to say, but if you instill the goodness in them, usually it'll pay off. And you two have done a good job with Johnny because he's a good guy. He's really good for our community as well. So I'm super excited to be 2024. John and myself are going to be doing a lot of shows together. And I'm excited that you two guys are going to come along for the ride now and help us out and hang out.
We usually don't get to see the podcast because I've been getting better, but I fall asleep a lot earlier than
It's
John.
10:30 their time. It's 9:30 my
Yeah,
time. It's 7:30 Brett's time.
I try to watch the reruns, but I'm trying to stay up where I can, see the podcast live. And
sure.
What this one did, Debbie, I appreciate what you're saying about the Terminator, but if you remember correctly, your brother took almost all of our family videos and movies of our trips and taped World Wrestling.
I had to be a funny guy too. I was into wrestling in the day.
So all of our family movies, we start to watch, and there's him taping these movies or playing
You got more glimpses of Hulk Hogan.
Being a stand-up comic with his friends over our family movies. So thanks to him, he can't see what he was really like when he was a little boy and going on all these vacations.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. John and I both have a love of pro wrestling, and I can tell you what, I mean, I taped over so much stuff. As a matter of fact, 2 weekends ago in Buffalo, I had a shot, and I don't really drink hard alcohol anymore, but I had a shot with Sergeant Slaughter, the world-renowned, famous Sergeant Slaughter from the WWF, and so that was pretty cool. And I figured if I'm going to have a shot of whiskey, I might as well be with the Sergeant Slaughter. So,
good point.
Yeah,
yes,
was a great manager. I've seen some. He was doing them for some of the small promotions, but you worked with guys like John Cena and
yeah,
he was a great manager. China.
I got beat up by China. Yes, yeah, I got a low blow from China. Yeah, I worked for Ultimate Pro Wrestling, which was like single A baseball for one of the pro teams. So we were like the minor leagues for the WWF back in the day, and John Cena, Samoa Joe, and a whole bunch of other guys. So I try to do everything. I mean, I am an actor, but I consider myself, if you're going to be in this business, you got to do everything. You throw everything up against the wall and you hope one or two things stick, and you never say no. You just give it a go. As your son as Johnny has progressed as a podcaster. And
I love it. I love it. Everybody's
Yeah.
gonna call him Johnny now, right?
As a kid,
Hey, Johnny.
a lot of it was Jesus, Johnny. So I usually had something attached. Asshole.
But,
Dad probably had a few times that he had a good reason for it, though.
you learn you just do everything. You try to do your best and you do everything. And John's done really good at doing and putting this podcast on. And, we get anywhere from, 150 to 300 to 400 people watching every time we do a podcast, which is great. So it's growing, and we get the cool people to come on, all the, our friends that are making movies, and, movers and shakers that are up and comers. And this Sunday, it's a big deal. Tom Matthews is a cult icon in the horror movie business, and he's a really nice guy, and he's very funny. And so we're excited to have him on. You're gonna have to stay up Sunday night and give it a watch, because he's a great guy.
Yeah.
No.
I have no idea exactly where it will be on Sunday yet, but
Yeah.
Where are you guys gonna go when you leave Missouri?
We're going first to Springfield, and then to that,
Well,
and then we're going to
Branson,
and then we're going to Kentucky. No,
Tennessee.
yeah,
Tennessee. We're gonna go see Memphis,
Oh, very cool.
Go see Elvis's house.
and then we'll probably
Yeah.
stop one more stop before we get
No.
to Fort Pierce.
Oh, I don't know.
So we're trying to keep it to 6 hours, 7 hours a day traveling, and then doing something.
Try to stop around 4 or 5 o'clock, at least target that. That way it's not too bad. We're not running a race. We're trying to have a vacation.
I got you. So Johnny, where could we see your parents this year? I know they're going to come to Denver Crypticon, but you and I have a few shows together. May we see them at another show, or?
Well, they're going to Taunton for Monster Expo 3D, because they're
Very awesome.
It's too, and then they could travel to Scarefest.
Yeah.
They're coming to Colorado. I talked them into it. Well, I told them they had to meet you. I mean, like Doug Tate's going. They met Doug at Phantasm. Doug's an amazing guy. I've told them all about Michael Bailey Smith and what a great guy he is, and how much fun we're going to have at this event. And the other guests that they're bringing in are fantastic. So I told them they have to go. They have to see DK and the Schwag. And meet all our friends and experience a con with us.
We should probably be at most of them.
We've had they've been fortunate enough to do with my other co-host. They did Phantasm, and then we just did Crypticon Kansas City, and we had a blast. But now they got to meet my other co-host, and we got to have a blast and have a good time out there in Colorado, which I don't know if they've been there, but I've been to Colorado once, and I love it. It's beautiful. Just looking outside at the mountains. I love Colorado. I cannot wait to be back there.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Joseph Collins, John, will you folks be in Minneapolis? Either way, we'll be ready.
I'm going to try to talk them into coming to Minneapolis and also on the way back to East Moline, which Brett will be there. So Minnesota, and that's in September. And I can't remember the dates. I want to say the 18th through the 20th, but I'm probably wrong. I think it's somewhere around there. I got it on my phone. And then the weekend after, we got Midwest Monster.
Midwest Monster Fest, which East Moline, which I'm really excited about, because I used to do a motorcycle rally there called Sturgis on the River, on the Davenport side, the Iowa side, for 10 years. But on the Illinois side of the river, there's a place called Steve's Old Time Tap, a little bar. But when I would come into town, guys, they would make the Schwag burger special. So hopefully, and I'm pretty sure the same guy still owns it. He's still around. So if you come meet us in East Moline, the Schwag burgers are on me.
There we go.
Your sister.
Sounds interesting.
My sister, our daughter Debbie, has been in Colorado. She's always said how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
I think she's been 2 or 3 times.
Debbie is saying most videos were Johnny tossing around his little friend Steve, who begged for mercy the whole time.
True.
it's a good. I mean, Johnny was big, and Steve was this little tiny guy, and they're doing wrestling. They're and he's tossing them around. When I saw that video, I thought, oh my God, he could have broken Steve's
What do you
back.
mean? He was 400 pounds and I lifted him up and slammed him.
What are you doing, you bully?
Oh,
I was a
They-
dick. No, but we
they
were
were
friends. We
playing.
always had fun. Yeah. We'd do street hockey when I was a kid. We'd be
he played
I
hockey.
mean, me and my friends, we did all that
He
kind
was a
of
figure
stuff.
skater too.
Yes, a figure skater.
They'd only let me play hockey if I learned how to skate properly with figure skating. So I did a couple years
No,
ago.
you-
Yes, I did not want to figure skate. You guys made me figure skate. And there's nothing wrong with figure skating. I enjoyed it and I learned a lot.
His father tried to figure skate with them, and he fell flat on his back, and his back is hurt ever since. But he was like 3 years old when he was figure skating. They learned was moving a chair around. Then
he told me he didn't look good in the tights. That was the only problem. He didn't look good in those little tights that you had to wear.
Very good.
Well,
he stopped figure skating when he was like 7 or 8, and then he learned. John was the original Bad News Bears.
Mm.
He had asked to coach a
He coached
baseball
baseball
team.
and soccer.
And he got all the kids that had never played before. So he would take them to practice every night. They wouldn't hold the bat. They didn't have gloves. He supplied the equipment. Bottom of the barrel. They came in second place. They almost beat the first place team. So
My dad's always kind of he's aside from figure skating, which I'm sorry about your back, but at the time it was like, and watching him water ski was another. I mean, if we had phones that we do now, it was just watching him. We couldn't stop laughing. He just couldn't. But he's an athletic guy. He was a great coach. He's very smart. He was an athletic guy when it came to throwing a football or baseball. He could huck it.
Your sister,
drink an entire lake.
Yeah, not everybody can drink.
Your sister, John says, I still clearly remember the smell of the hockey equipment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was.
We didn't have a good stint. Well, I mean, you're playing it all the time. You try to do what you can, but you're playing hockey, and I was always a sweating guy. No matter if I was in great shape or whatever, I've always been that guy that just sweats like a pig.
Yeah, you take it and you put it in a hockey bag and zip it closed.
And stick it in a closet instead of in
Oh yeah.
Let it.
I mean, hanging it up would have taken a lot
marinate
of
for a
freaking
while.
time, and I didn't have that as a kid. I was busy doing other things. Like
We got a Facebook. Someone on Facebook is asking, "Are you coming to the Colorado Festival of Horror?" We are not this year, but if that's a suggestion, Colorado Festival of Horror, I think I've heard of it. But send John or myself a message, and we'll look into that for 2024. Yeah. So anytime your sister now is saying the smell in the car never goes away.
Hey, you think that bothered me as a kid with two sisters?
Of course not. Didn't bother. Listen, here's the thing. So I tried to play hockey as a kid. I got into a speed skating class first, and then after falling down a few times, I realized, and I couldn't stop. I was very fast, but trying to stop on the skates, I just wasn't good at it. But when I have to do my full, what you guys will see at some point this year, you'll probably see it in Denver when I do my full Leatherface costume photo ops. Sometimes I get in half of that outfit and I'm in that thing for 8 or 9 hours, and then when I bring my bag back on the plane, I'm always embarrassed. And now I bring Febreze with me, so the night before I fly, I Febreze the whole outfit and the costume, just so the people on the plane don't start smelling around and saying, who is it?
Hockey bag anymore, man. I could have you use that, and you could just blame me.
You can have the whole plane to yourself.
It really smelled when the hockey team went to Canada to play. That bus smelled wonderful on the way back home.
I mean, you play hockey. Anybody who's played hockey, it doesn't matter if you're playing and you're doing a lot. You
but
practice
if
on the weekends. Your equipment don't smell too good over the years. I mean, you're in full unit. You know how it is. Even when you're doing your leather face dress up, you're putting that hockey equipment. You got knee pads, face mask, mouth guard,
yeah,
shoulder pads, elbow pads.
Oh yeah, and listen, yeah, and I know firsthand about wearing an outfit and getting heat stroke in it, so I know all that stuff adds up. But listen, so I'm excited to meet you two in person, and as a friend of John, I appreciate you two guys giving him support and coming out because I know it means a lot to him, and it's very nice that our fan base gets to meet you guys, and you did a good thing raising that kid. I mean, he's told me some horror stories about his sisters, but I don't believe him. So
my mom is one of those people who just is a walking billboard for anything Doomsday's Crypt when she's at the event. So anybody who's going to Colorado for Crypticon or went to Kansas City, they'll tell you my mom's just always interacting, loves talking to the people. Oh, yeah. She's gonna outshine us, Brett. So just be prepared. That's what she does. That's what they do.
I'm all right. I'm all right with that.
I've heard about you from but no. In all honesty, we have a lot of fun with these conventions. All of us being able to spend time and do this together has brought our family closer than it's ever been. Brought me and my dad closer than we've ever been. Me and my mom, and even my sister was down there. Both of them. We had the whole family together. We had an amazing time with the nieces. My daughter showed up. Beatrice was there. We had Nick Benson and Mick Strawn, and it was just everybody had such a great time. We got along, and of course Doug Tate was there too. I had a few beers with them. Awesome dude. Cannot wait to see him in Colorado. I saw him in Minnesota, and I saw him at Phantasm.
I don't know if you saw his table or not, the picture show, but it was quite awesome.
I've seen his table. I'm trying to figure out where the three of us are going to be.
I got one behind you from the ceiling because he only put up about maybe 3/4 of his merchandise.
Yes.
Left.
We're gonna be focused with this table. Every table's got to be better than the previous. So Denver, me and you are going to talk a little bit more now that I got back. I've unwound a little bit and get some of my friends on some cool things that we think would be awesome for the fans, for you to sign. And us to bring that killer table to Colorado.
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think people. I don't think people realize unless they see the pictures of how extensive you make this whole thing. As we said, it's almost. We're going to probably get to a point where it's a little convention inside of a big convention, because we want to make like a compound. Like this is the Doomsday's Crypt compound, and here are our fearless leaders, and Marie and John and Johnny and the Big Schwag and whoever else is there, and then
you're the same way. We want to make sure that every fan that comes to the table, or that loves these different artists that we put on the table and we showcase, because we have so many talented people in the Doomsday's Crypt community that we all know. That showing them off, they really are the stars of the shows a lot of times. Yes. I mean, I set it up, I support and love these guys, but they really help me do what I do. But
100%, 100%.
Everybody that comes, they're not just getting an autograph or something. They're not just they're having an experience. And and we're gonna make sure that happens. And I can't wait till Colorado because me and you are gonna whoop it up. And then we got Doug Tate right next to us, so that gives me a reason to bring some kick-ass Michael Myers stuff on top. We got Michael Bailey Smith. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, so Michael Bailey Smith invited you to his wedding before me. How'd that happen?
Well, I think because
how did that happen?
Interest. I told him about my parents. It got me in.
Okay. No, I'm teasing. I'm real excited. Michael, as your parents will soon to realize when they meet him as well. Wow. He's a good friend. He's a good friend of mine, and he was a competitor of mine because we go up for the same roles. But sure enough, we become good friends. And Doug Tate the same way. He's a guy I go up against, and we're good friends. And he's just a great guy. So, it's been a blessing to be a part of Johnny's life here and get to work with him. And as I said, you guys have done a really good job, and I look forward to meeting you guys, and our fan base, I'm sure, are going to look forward to meeting you too, and throwing back maybe one of Big John's drinks. We'll have to have him have his own little mixology class on the backside. We'll put a little back hideaway, like a speakeasy, behind our booth, so John could be back there mixing some drinks.
Speakeasy, yeah. Well, we feel like your family now. I feel like I've known you for years and years and years. It's so easy talking to you. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. And listen, so folks, this Sunday, you know, we're in Shootin the Shizz with DK and the Schwag. We're real excited. We're going to have Tom Matthews on from Return to the Living Dead 1 and 2, and he's obviously going to talk about his new movie, Don't Hike in the Woods 2, which
he was also in Vengeance 1 or Vengeance 2. So
that's right. Yeah. So we're real excited to have Tom on this Sunday, and you know, it's been a pleasure getting to interview you two guys and talk with you. And of course, John, you know, it's always a pleasure, buddy. And yeah, look at that family hug, family hug.
Thanks for coming on and interviewing my parents.
Yeah,
I think it's my favorite guest. I'm sorry anybody else has been on the show, but it's been my favorite one so far. And Brad, I'm glad you got to meet him and talk to him. And we're ready to on Crypticon. We are ready.
Yeah, we're real excited. And folks, thanks and to your sister Debbie, thanks for coming on and hanging out. And she's been saying some very nice things about you.
I saw a lot of the scrolls, but I couldn't read. I can't read what the people were saying.
We had a lot of great people in the chat. I want to say hi to each and every one of you guys that came in and supported the stream, showing my parents love, showing DK and the Schwag love. And we can't wait to bring that fire heat to Colorado.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys in Colorado. And John, I'll see you this Sunday night with Tom Matthews and everybody in the chat room. Thank you guys very much for coming on tonight and supporting the show.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And
we had fun
meeting you.
Until Sunday.
Until we do it again.